So after much huffing and puffing, Ayaz, the Indian women are finally through to the semis of the ODI World Cup. They booked the spot after beating New Zealand last night. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of criticism around their performance, especially after three consecutive losses. So how have you summed up the campaign so far? And given the talent of the team, do you think making it to the semis is about on par with expectations, or were you one of those people who were expecting them to win the final?
Well, I think the expectations have been revived, Anirudh, because mid-tournament there was a massive stutter. As you know, the Indian women's team lost three matches in a row to South Africa, Australia, and then England, and all three narrow matches. I mean, at least two of them they should have certainly won, maybe all three, and that kind of put them in the in jeopardy their place in the semi-final. But they've come good against New Zealand in good style. Remember, however, that the four semi-finalists, apart from India, the three other teams that are there have all beaten India in this very tournament. So it's not going to be an easy passage past this last four stage and then into the final and then trying to win the final, because India are seeking their maiden victory in the World Cups. We've been twice in World Cup finals. Once in 2017 in the ODI final, once in 2020 in the T20 final, and both times we bombed. So this time the expectations are playing at home support, conditions well known, etc., etc. Will India make it? Well, that's the $1 million question.
Yeah, and especially when you consider that they might run into that ridiculous Australian side again. But anyway, we should talk about one of the standout performers for India, which is Smriti Mandhana. So she brought up yet another 100 last night, and I've lost count of how many she had this year. I mean, it's been a wonderful year for her. Fastest to 5,000 ODI runs, most runs in a calendar year. Do you think where she at in her career right now, do you think we can say that she is India's best ever ODI women's batter? I mean, going by the numbers, only Mithali Raj is above her. I think about 2,000 runs difference. But remember that Mandhana's played only half of Mithali's games. And the strike rate is, of course, it's across eras, but I think Mithali was somewhere around 70 and Smriti is in the 90s. And the average is just two runs off. So can we say Smriti Mandhana is the best ever to do it for India?
I mean, it looks like it, isn't it? I mean, if you compare Mithali with Smriti, he's comparing different eras, different ages. The whole approach to the game has changed. The kind of play, the strokes that batters play today is very different from Mithali's time. Mithali wasn't about the great of her time. Smriti Mandhana currently is the number one batter in the world in ODIs. And you mentioned all the records that she's got. She's got a lot of finesse. She's not powerfully built, but she's got the gift of timing. And in this tournament itself, so far she's the highest run getter. So everything suggests that she's at the peak of her prowess, and therefore a lot depends on how she fares. But what's encouraging is also how Pratika Rawal has come along. 25-year-old psychology graduate from Delhi. She got 100 in the last game, and the two of them, just 212-run partnership, snuffed out whatever chance that New Zealand had. Then there's Jemima Rodriguez, who's come, roaring back after being dropped for one game. The only issue which is still lingering from India's batting point of view is Harmanpreet Kaur's lack of runs so far. Though she had a very good match against England, we couldn't win the match, but she had a very aggressive half century, which would have done her confidence a lot of good. So where the batting is concerned, and there's a spate of all rounders which gives the batting and bowling a lot of help. And then the bowlers themselves have done well, the specialists. So if you look at it on paper, Australia look to be the best team. They are unbeaten in the group stage. They are, India's long-time nemesis. So I think there are serious challenges ahead in the semi-final and the final. But hey, India have got this far and they should aspire for getting their maiden title.
Yeah, now moving across genders, but saying with the same teams, India were lost to Australia down under in that ODI series 2-0. They still have one more game left to go, but the series is decided already. A lot of talk about the major talking point, of course, Virat Kohli's back-to-back ducks and a sort of goodbye that he's waved to the Adelaide crowd. And of course, Shreyas Iyer and Rohit Sharma played really well, but it does tell you how difficult it is on foreign conditions, and especially in a format that you haven't been playing consistently, and that home advantage is still a thing. So, first of all, about Virat, lot of speculation. What have you heard?
So I think one of the things which has happened, Anirudh, that this whole campaign, the three-match series, ODI series, was built around Virat and Rohit. Their comeback after a long layoff. their aspiration, the ambition to play the 2027 World Cup. The selectors making that, at least giving them a step ahead in that direction. Now it's not come along as well as anticipated because the long layoff obviously showed up. They looked undercooked. Virat, he played 8 balls in the first match, 4 in the second. He got 2 blobs. So the selectors and the team management will be seriously asking what has been the real game. Shreyas Iyer, yes, a half century there. I thought that the bowlers did as well as they could. Remember, the first match, the total was very moderate. In the second one, it wasn't intimidating. Australia's total wasn't imposing, but India couldn't make it. So I think overall, Australia's team, which is also in transition, has exposed to a large extent what India's was, looking to achieve on this series in terms of form, fitness. The fitness of Rohit and Virat is not the issue now. The form of Virat certainly, and to some extent of Rohit, though he's got a half century as I mentioned. What also baffled me a bit was KL Rahul batting quite low in the order, though he's currently India's best batsman across formats.
Yeah, and so lastly, what are the takeaways for India? Do you think they look into this series that deeply, or do you just say that it's a one-off? We've played after a long time and just go ahead with it and focus on the T20s now, which are more pressing and you say more important given that the World Cup is coming up.
Well, I think it will be interesting to see in the last match if Virat Kohli plays that match or not. I would put him in the match because you've taken him there to suss him out, so to speak. Now he's had 2 failures. He didn't spend too much time in the middle, so there was no real struggle. He just got out too early. So I would actually say he and both Rohit should deserve or need one more game. The selectors need to be a little patient. So to the team management, if they are you know, considering them for the 2027. Having said that, there are opportunities to check out somebody like a Yashasvi Jaiswal or somebody else, some bowler maybe Kuldeep Yadav who hasn't had a game for some reason. These are things that will obviously this is something that Gambhir and Gill will be thinking about as we speak. Now, obviously, the attention will very swiftly move to the 5 match T20 series, where India are the world defending world champions. There's a T20 World Cup coming up. So, and there's a lot of hullabaloo and brouhaha about T20 in any case. So, I think that it'll be interesting to see what happens in the third match, which is the composition, which is the playing 11 which takes the field. And it will give us some idea of how the selectors and maybe the team management is thinking for the challenges ahead.
So yeah, as I said earlier, the third ODI is coming up, and the Indian women face Bangladesh in the last league game. And so we'll come back to you right before the T20 series, the men's T20 series against Australia. So that's it for this episode of Sports Room. We'll see you next time.